Fàilte Academy, Feis Ile. Hello, Mr. Murph. Hello, everybody.
Hello. How are you?
Not bad at all, not bad. Splendid evening in Islay. It'll be a good sunset tonight, I think, Neil.
Oh, lovely.
So what's doing in Glasgowshire?
No, not much. It's typically grey and cloudy here. That's just par for the course in Glasgow, really. I think
not much green place tonight.
No. It's the dear grey place tonight. Yeah, usually is, to be fair. But I think you guys are a bit lucky in Islay because it's so windy that the weather moves through really quick. In Glasgow, it just seems to sit here, you know.
Linger.
Yeah, that's it.
So welcome to IWA Live number 8. I can't believe that we're on number 8. It's quite a miracle, I think, really.
Yep.
Because
we were trying to work out how often we'd done them because I think the first one was October 2021. So we've done 8 in about just about a year and a half, bit more than that, So
that's all right.
That's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah, it'd be nice if they were a bit more often, but we want it's content, it's quality rather than quantity, isn't
it? Well, let's hope it's the same tonight.
Yes.
Because what we've got for you all is brilliant. We've got a beautiful singer. So we're very lucky that we've managed to persuade our witch from the Whisky and Witches Show that we're going to have on the Islay Whisky Academy open day for the Feis. She's going to sing for us all tonight. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I think everybody else will as well. So we were going to start. We were going to kind of talk a wee bit about the Feis first, Neil, weren't we?
Yeah, it's that. I can't believe it's that time of year again already, actually, that we're talking about the festival and stuff again. But it's only a matter of weeks away now, isn't it?
Oh, well, I mean, our open day is a week. This is the 3rd of May. So our open day is on the 1st of June.
That's right,
so it's a month. What day is this? 4 weeks tomorrow, I think.
Aye.
Tomorrow is our open day.
Right. Wow, that's scary, isn't it?
Yeah. And we've got hello to Donna from North Carolina, and Rick.
Hello, Donna.
San Francisco. Hello, and Mr. Mac himself.
Yeah.
How are you tonight, everybody?
Yeah. So
and hello, Mr. Hughes. Hello, Liam and Elaine. Nice to know you're here.
Thanks for joining, everyone. That's a nice wee turnout already, isn't it?
Yes, hooray. So, what were we going to say? So this Feis this year is a bit bigger, Neil. I think it runs for maybe about just about like 10 days. So it's going to start on the Friday.
Uh-huh.
So that's the Friday before our open day. So that's the Friday, the something of May. I don't know what it'll be, like the 27th or whatever it is that Friday.
Is it the 26th or something? I think I saw.
So that's the kind of kick-off.
Right.
So there's going to be a street party in Port Ellen, and
that's right. Yeah, I heard about this. That sounds really good.
With what you call them, the clowns on the high stilts, and they walk along the pavement beside you.
Yeah. Like a parade kind of thing. Yeah.
So it's like circus, like carnival people.
Yeah.
So they're part of it, and so the parade starts at the school, and the Islay Whisky Academy are going to be on Duffy's lorry. So
all right, yeah.
Duffy's lorry is an old, is it a dray lorry you call it? From from years ago, from like a brewer's.
Yeah.
Well, there's Ken. Hello, Ken. Greetings from Texas. I'm going to meet Ken and his team in the Highlands next month.
Lovely. Yeah.
An adventure, a whisky adventure.
Absolutely.
So the the Duffy's lorry. What do you call them, Neil? You know, there's like a flatbed lorry and all.
Yeah, I know I don't know the name, but I know the sort of thing you mean. Yeah, yeah.
So Duffy's got an old-fashioned one that's been refurbed, if you like. So it's all glamorous, and it says Duffy's lorry on it. And years ago, when I set up Whiskey for Girls, Duffy said, let's have a cask on the lorry. But then there became so many outlet distilleries that there wasn't enough room for my cask.
Right.
So then we've just got a cask end.
Yeah. Well, no wonder, you know, that'll be why the Feis is getting longer and longer as well, because of all the new distilleries opening up, you know. it'll be a 2-week thing soon.
Well, no, the committee have said we're not really going to extend it any further.
Oh, right, okay, so people will just need to double up then.
Yeah, and that's what's happening. Yeah. So our open day is on the 1st, so that's Thursday the 1st, and we share with Kilchoman.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Yeah.
And then on Wednesday, Bowmore shares with Arnahoe, I believe.
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, it's just the way the other day.
I think it worked quite well last year because of you doing the open day at Portnahaven. It worked kind of well with Kilchoman being the same day because they were at the same side of the island, at least, you know. So it means people can have the option to dip in and out of, you know, attend both of them, you know, do an event at one and then an event at the other, you know. It worked quite well.
It's not like going to Ardbeg and then going to Porthaven.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's not that long a drive from one to the other, you know. Yeah. Great stuff. Yeah, I mean, I just saw, which is good news, that there was a few concerns about the Calmac ferry, and they were going to take the MV Finlagan out of service to do some maintenance or something, and it wasn't going to start running again until the 25th of May, which was like the day before the festival was due to start. So I think people were getting a bit concerned that what if there's any delays or something, that could be a bit of a problem. But apparently Calmac have decided to delay that work, so the Finlagan will be running throughout the festival, and it'll be after the festival that they take it out of service to do the maintenance work. So I think that eased a few concerns for some people, you know.
Because I lost the will to live with all the stuff about the ferry, so I've not been paying any attention.
Right,
so I'm pleased that you told me that, because I didn't even know that.
yeah. I only saw that today. Hello, Dan.
Oh, Daniel. Hello, that's nice.
So I thought that was good, because a few people were getting a bit concerned, you know. It's cutting it very fine to say the ferry will be back in on the 25th, you know. You're like, even a day out with that, and people are missing their ferries and not getting over for the Feis, and that would be a terrible shame, you know.
Did anyone see the photos of the, what do you call it? Catamaran, is it? A catamaran. Catamaran with a 2, is it?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
I think it might be on Images of Islay. Billy Stitchell certainly took some photos of that. And it's I don't know when they're going to put it on, but it's an unusual ferry. So Liam Hughes, Neil, you'll miss the ferry.
Yeah. I'm choosing to ignore that.
How do you know that?
Yeah.
Neil's famous. He never wants to leave Islay. He always wants to stay longer.
Yeah. I just think events conspire to keep me there. It's not my fault, you know. It's completely.
No, that's right. There's something about the island. It gets a hook on.
Yeah. Just doesn't want to let me go. That's all. Yeah.
So will I tell a wee bit about our own events?
I think we should, yeah, because there's a lot happening, and there's a bit of a theme this year, isn't there?
Well, yes. So it's to do with magic and witches, and so we thought that we would show how our logo ties in with that, because many people might not know about maybe the origins of our logo.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, Neil, are you able to put that up on the screen? Can I show the kind of...
there you go.
So you can see inside, we've got the wee boat, right? Within the boat, there's 3 witches. So the one at the back, that's a rudder. So that's a rudder of barley. So she's steering the boat with a rudder of barley. And the wee witchy in the middle, that's a wee baby still. That's an alembic. So she's cradling that wee still. And then the witch at the front, she's got the telescope. So she's steering by the stars to guide the boat. And this is why we've got the Skipperish song, Steer by the Stars, that Angus MacPhail gave me to use, because of that's how our wee witches go about. And the logo, it shows all the things. So you've got agriculture, navigation, distillation, metalwork, geology, astronomy, astrology. You've got medicine coming from the alembic. So that wee logo, actually, with the three witches, encompasses medicine, encompasses all our sciences. So this year at the Feis, we've got our witches show. That's our last show, the Whisky and Witches. But we're also doing a special thing on Monday the 29th of May. And that's in the afternoon. And I think it's probably going to be at Kilnotton Beach, but it depends on the weather. And that's going to be a touch of Scotch and Celtic shamanism. And for folk that don't know, shamanism is like the old belief systems. So it's connected very much to the natural elements. So north, south, east and west. It's got properties and energies in these elements. It's like different atmospheres which correspond to different animals, different properties. So what I've done is I've put together, we're going to sit round a bonfire, right? And match whiskies that match all the properties of the north, south, east and west, and teach people a wee bit about this Celtic old ways. I know about stuff like that, really.
That's it sounds fascinating. It really does. And again, it's offering something a wee bit different, I always try and say to people, if you're going for the Feis, I mean, if you're going to Islay at any time, but especially if you're going for the Feis, don't just become obsessed with the whiskey. There's so much more to Islay than that. And I think especially the Feis it's not just a whiskey festival, so it's nice to explore other things.
That's why it's called a Feis.
Well, exactly,
a cultural festival. So that's why it's Feis Ile. It's not like the Space Whiskey Festival. It's a different vibe.
Yeah, exactly. That isn't a whiskey festival. It
started with a cultural, and then malts came in, and then the malts kind of overtook it a wee bit. But now the culture's really coming back a lot.
Absolutely, and I think that's exactly what you're doing, and what you're doing so well is giving people a bit of both. You're giving people a bit of both.
We're doing.
Yes, well, but we're able to offer people. You're getting the whiskey and stuff. You'll get to taste some amazing drams, but you'll get it in this sort of cultural frame. And
another lovely thing that we're doing, Neil, on the Saturday, so that's the Saturday the 27th, we're doing it with David Webster, which a few of our students will know. David, he's our geology professor, and he lives on Islay, and we're going to do an event with David. So like it starts in the Green in Portelen, and we'll take you and we'll discuss the geology of Islay and how the water for the different distilleries comes through the different geology, how that influences, the pH, like maybe tannins in the water or whatever, and then how that influences the mash, how you deal with the mash. So that'd be really interesting.
Yep. And Rick's quite right there, of course. That's why the best time to visit Islay is during an academy week. Well,
see, if you hadn't passed already, you'd have gone to the top of the class.
Bonus points there. Yeah. The David Webster thing sounds brilliant as well. Obviously, I've been lucky enough to be with you on a couple of the diploma weeks when David's talked to the students. And, if you were to tell me beforehand, we're going to have a talk about geology, I'd be thinking I'm going to fall asleep during this, because the idea of that it's not something that captures my imagination at all.
Rocks are not. gentlest of beings.
Yeah, but David he's so knowledgeable, and he presents it in such an interesting way, and he's able to tie it in with whiskey and how it impacts that, and it just, again, it deepens your appreciation of just how interesting Islay as a place is. There's so much that's unique and interesting about it.
Theology,
Yeah,
regardless of whiskey.
exactly.
So he brings that alive. Something that you might not have really paid attention to.
Yeah.
So that's the two events that we've got out with the open day. But then our open day is going to be in the Rins Hall in Porthaven, because no one does anything away down there.
Mm-hmm.
And also that hall is a beautiful hall. It's got a lovely atmosphere. So our open day is free to everybody. Starts at 10 o'clock and it goes on to 6 o'clock. We've got fantastic music from Eddie Brown and his band. All local Islay musicians, session players. So that's very fluid. They'll just play whenever whoever starts it off, and then other musicians will come down. So they've got all that. Eddie's in charge of all that. So that's cool. They'll just be playing music kind of all day. And then we've got poets, Porthaven poets, reading brilliant poetry about Islay, witty poem, to kind of not old traditional poems, but contemporary traditional, I feel like, poems about the island. And then we've also got Kate, our storyteller. She's going to tell a couple of stories. She's a brilliant, a professional storyteller. So that's all informal, and that's, people could just come to that. We've also got our cafe with our homemade scones and our homemade soup, and come to that. And we've got stalls. We've got the sea salt. So we've got Anna Hawk from Sea Salt, and we're going to do Islay Slammers.
I was just going to ask, are there going to be more Islay Slammers again?
Yes, they're fantastic. What else? We're going to have our own stall where we'll sell the Gaelic map, Jim McEwen's book, whatever things we've got. I can't remember what else.
Well, we'll have a bar, obviously. There will be a bar.
Oh, yes, the most important thing.
Drams. Yeah, can't forget that part.
No, and that's through the kind of velvet curtain, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah. There's a wee side room, isn't there, outside the hall that we can use as the bar? Yeah.
So we've got the language of Scotch. That's our first one. So that's teaching people how to differentiate their banri from their triban. Like all the language, Ugadal and. Just, I don't know, student things like that. Yeah. And we'll also work with the Gaelic flavour wheel that we made in the academy. Yeah. So, and anybody that signs on, they get sent a flavour wheel to their email for them to download anyway. So they get that. And then we've got Courting the Dram workshop. So that's to do with our course that we made in lockdown.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really good. So there'll be like 16 different things on the table in in structures, so this type of food is in that kind of, you're more likely to experience that in this kind of whiskey. So it's helping you to put kind of structures in your head for when you're nosing and tasting a dram, so that you can, structures, like not compartmentalize, but instead of doing the road with all the different stops of your brain, it's like
signposting, or
so that you've got ways, so that you're not so that you've got ways that your own brain will relate to.
Yes,
because some people can do it by walking down a road, right? And then they say, "Oh, go into the flower shop, and is there any smells of flowers? Go into the shoe shop." But other folk prefer it more like lists according to, now, is there any phenol smells here? So it's how your brain works. We talk about that, because there's 6 or 7 different ways that you can compartmentalize flavors. You can also think about your own home, right? And you can think about smells and flavors that you have in your own home, and then that are outside.
Yeah.
So it's just to give you parameters for evaluating your dram. So that'll be a brilliant workshop. I'm looking forward to doing that.
Sounds great as well. That's going to be the real sort of educational chunk of the day, I think, isn't it? That's the one for real nerds that are wanting to get right in there with the technical stuff and improve their nosing and tasting and stuff. That sounds excellent as well.
And then we've got piping. My favourite, as usual, piping. So we've got 4 old Pibroch tunes. So Pibroch is the old-fashioned style, and it's the music as you listen to Pibroch, it moves in a shape like so, and you've got the ground, and then it repeats, and then other notes come in. I mean, that is the way Pibroch works. But you see, whiskey works the same.
Mm-hmm.
So as you nose and taste the shape of it, and then other bits come in, but the shape. So we're tying 4 whiskies into 4 Pibroch and explaining about them, and so that's a fun one to introduce people to Pibroch and Kilmore.
Yep. That again sounds excellent. I, as you know, I love the concept of sort of pairing whiskey with music and things. You know, I think whiskey's very evocative, and I think music's very evocative, and when you put the two together, you can get something really special, you know. And the pipes are such a sort of magical instrument anyway.
And Pibroch is like, some people are kind of scared of Pibroch. It's the same as people are kind of scared of the word maybe shamanism. I think it's too spooky, or they think Pibroch's too, what's that weird kind of pipe music? But if you learn a wee bit about it, then you start to go, oh my God, that is absolutely amazing. And Pibroch can be used if you've got a lot of hard work to do, like Donna, if you had to write a brief or something. I see Donna's got piping, I wish I could be there. Because what Pibroch does is, because it's got the drone, it stills the monkey brain, right? Because you calm down, but it does, it's not like a jig or a reel that you get carried away with a tune. It's the way that it goes. It's actually very meditative. So what it does is it clears your brain, but it also makes you have high clarity. It's not that you go, it's not that it puts you to sleep, but it calms you, but makes you sharp. And when I used to do architecture plans, I used to listen to Pibroch all the time, so that I could, it helped me focus.
Right, so, interesting, yeah.
So it's a brilliant thing. And then after that, we have the finale of the day. And we're very lucky to have one of the witches, because at 3:00 we're going to have Whisky and Witches Show. And we're lucky enough to have one of the singing witches with us. So I think Christine is going to come on and share with us about. Hi.
Hello. Hi. Great to be here, guys.
I'm
You're
so
very
pleased
welcome.
to join us. I can't believe that we've now got 2 witches on the show. and me. 2 witches and me.
So I'm so happy to be here.
We're happy to have you. So can we ask you a wee bit, how did you think of your show? What made you think about it, Christine? How did you start? Do you know what did you think of? How did it start in the beginning?
Well, hi John. Hi. It actually started off even before so the idea to do a musical whiskey experience started before I moved to Scotland, which was about 1.5 years ago now. But the only thing I knew then was that I had a concept. I wanted to do music and whiskey together, and I wanted to use the music to elevate the experience of the whiskey. And then just before the pandemic hit, I was over in Scotland actually for an interview, and I randomly go into the Black Cat and meet Jane Nolan, now Jane Ross, who I'm doing the show with, and we start talking back and forth about the concept, and it's just quite a baby at that time. And then after I moved here, I went into her bar just by chance. I think that was over 1 year ago. And we started catching up. We hadn't talked in years. And we started getting a few drinks and just talking about different things. And I presented her to this idea because she said she was doing various events and whiskey tastings. And we were sitting in the bar, cackling away, and this guy comes up to us and say, "Look at you sitting like a bunch of witches." And I kid you not, at the same time, raised our glasses and said, "Witches and whiskey." We just looked at each other and went, "Okay, that's interesting."
So it started by magic.
It did.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the same as my logo. My logo came to me in a dream with the witches.
Really?
Yep. So it's
Oh,
so
wow.
once you're on the path of creativity and magic, it just all flows to you. Christine, where are you from? You're saying that you came to Scotland. Tell us where you're from.
Yeah, I'm from Denmark originally. So, but I've been traveling back and forth to Scotland for about 12 years. And no, 15. Jesus, where does the time go? Well, 15 years. I'm forgetting how old I am. Anyway, so.
But witches never age. That's one of the things you must know, that because they eat children and keep young.
Yeah. And we conserve ourselves in whiskey. I think that helps.
That's
well.
a better way of putting it. Now, I think
So, yeah.
before you tell us any more, I think we're going to ask you to sing a wee song to introduce yourself and your style. I think that's better than asking you questions. I mean, we will ask you questions, but it would be lovely to hear your lovely voice to sing for us. Would you like to sing a wee song for us all?
I would absolutely love to. And the first one is a medley that I do throughout the show as one of the first things. It's a medley between a quite known song and one of my own. So that goes. Dat meldde min moder att med skyldig kaupa flöj och fagra åra fara och brott med viking om stanna upp i stavni stöda död om knäri alla svar till havna hög var man och annan hög var man och annan. Olga och börja tuba och dom Heming levar pring och lån Låd och gada du drar dansa omkring av ängsten din Jumbra idea, jumbra ido Jumbra idea, jumbra ido
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, that's lovely. And it's like Gaelic. Do you know what I mean? It's so similar. And the way that it moves, it's so haunting, and that, Christine, is just
It really does remind me of Gaelic sort of song, actually. Just even in sort of tone and atmosphere and things like that, it feels very kind of similar, you know.
I think that's one of the things that drew me to Scotland. I felt like the first time I arrived here, I felt like my heart was kind of calling me home. And I was almost getting a bit moved thinking about it, actually. I was 18 years old and I was at a hunting castle and I laid down on this bed of moss and I just felt like I could cry. I felt so at ease. And don't get me wrong, I love my Nordic roots, but what I've really found is the connection between the Celtic and the Nordic that really makes me feel at home. And that's what we're trying to do with Whiskey and Witches, or what we're actually doing.
Yes, and that's very interesting because we do a show called the Enchanting Scotland Show, Christine, and people always think that the movement, of people, they always think it came up from the south. It didn't. It came, across the Dogger Bank, Nordic influence across to Orkney, Shetland, across the top and down. It was from your movement as well. Came that way. It wasn't like it came up from the south. Everybody thinks that, but so in the Chanting Scotland show, we actually talk about the history of Islay that's been actually archaeologists have dug up stuff now. That this is like irrefutable proof of the movement of the human. So do you know what I mean? So you've probably and then there was a huge interaction between, the Gaeldom and the Nordic people. So we've got a fusion anyway. So that you're just coming home.
Yeah. A kinship,
and that's how it feels.
Yeah.
Yes. No, exactly. That's exactly how it feels, and I think that's also why. So, for instance, I'm releasing an album this year, which is essentially the meeting between Nordic and Celtic folk music with a lot of different influences that I think I've been working on it for the past 6 years. And some of the songs that are in the Whisky Witches Show, actually a song I'm going to sing in the end here today, is one that's going to be from, I love seeing the different comments about Denmark in the chat. Yay!
The best clothes. It's very stylish.
Yeah. Oh no, but it's something I've been studying that for ages as well. When I have two, Viking folk bands back in Denmark, and a lot of the comments we get on our music is it seems like to be from this place that's an in between. It's not quite Nordic, it's not quite, but it's all based on research into different tonal structures and ancient early music, if you could say it like that, and early instruments. So, and I think when my style of writing music is very much going back to roots, sitting out in the forest, trying to gather the inspiration to write this material. And I very much enjoy hearing that then that comes through in what people hear.
Authentic. It's so authentic. You can feel it. It's so you can feel it when you sing it. I love it. So you're going to do in Islay, Christine, you and Jane. So Jane is she going to be like the kind of MC, and she's going to kind of carry the story, and then you're going to sing within, because the show lasts about 2 hours, and within the show they get 5 fantastic drams from you, and they get a fantastic dram from me at the end. So they're going to get 6. It's all single cask, I believe, that you've got. Yes, and I'm going to give them a single cask at the end. So they've got these 6 phenomenal drams. They're going to get this music, and they're going to get Jane. Is she like?
Yeah, so Jane, essentially, the way we do it is we curate each dram through storytelling that goes with each of the beasts on the bottle, 2 songs, and then Jane is she's magical. She creates the tasting notes in a very theatrical way. So it's not just we get a bit of this, this, and this. The way she just explains them, and I know John will be the first to agree with me on this, is so. It is a story she tells. You get the history behind. You get the history behind the dram. You get the history behind the distillery. So you've got all the facts you're looking for, but it's so much more than that in the way that she presents it. And then what we also do is that we also focus on witches, but witches in the sense of women who have for centuries and millennia held a very central role in the spirits industry before it even became an industry as such, but were gradually pushed out. And one of the ways they were that was to be condemned as witches, actually for distilling or selling alcohol. So we, in a playful theatrical way, also brings a bit of seriousness into it and just brings a bit to mind that we are part of a movement of women. I don't know if you can say it like that. Of course, with yourself, Rachel, as a head witch, it feels like part of this movement of people.
Yes, many times have I been called that.
But this movement of just reclaiming a space that we were as much in as the men who's also popularized the spirits. So it's about, I think, it's trying to create balance as well.
Very contemporary. So really, the whole thing of the Islay Whisky Academy is bringing the past into the future. It's the same. It's the same with the shamanism thing. Because that Celtic thinking and feeling, it's very contemporary because that's all eco-friendly. So it's eco-friendly. It's making equality for women. It's making it all better. So the Whisky and Witches, I'm just so pleased. So a big shout out to John McShane for being at your event and bringing you to us because he's the bridge that brought us together. So we need to give him a dram. Oh well, no, he got drams off me when he was here last week.
I was going to say he's got a lot to answer for him, hasn't he?
So I'm aware that time's moving on, Christine. So maybe you could share your other lovely song with us, because you were going to sing 2 songs for us. If you would.
Yes, definitely. I would love to.
Yeah.
And this one is from, so I'm going to do it a cappella as well. It's going to be different on the album, of course, but it's one that I finished writing, I think, about a year ago. It's in Danish. It's called Sol står stille. The sun stands still. And it goes like this. Just going to get some. We know here. Solreder sigte på himlen. Verden går nu til ro. Vågne er magedage. Og mange lyser sit dybe blå. Skoven i snehvide klæder, miden kommes i ud, med navn lysende der, og i vort stille nu. Sister sun.
Wow, that's amazing. Your voice sounds like the wind and in the natural things. You know, you can feel like it's not just a human person. You feel like it's the nature singing. You know, that's what I felt like.
Yeah.
That might be the highest compliment.
Wow.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to play it with I've got pipes, we've got guitar, we've got strings on it. It's going to be choir. It's going to be, hopefully on the album, it's just going to be like spectacular.
Wow. And so people are going people are going to hear a bit of this at the Witches Show that you're going to put in the album. So it's like they're so lucky. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, they are. And I'm really, really, really looking forward to bringing it to Islay. It's like a dream come true, honestly.
Oh no, we can't. We're delighted. We're so delighted that you can join us. So, well, that was just lovely.
Absolutely incredible. Really is. It's very stirring. It's just, some music is background music, and some music you just have to give your full concentration to and sit there and let it kind of wash over you, and that's very much the latter that we've just heard there. It grabs you and doesn't let you go.
Lovely.
It's also
over, Christine, and be with us on the open day. It'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it as well. And again, thanks for the invitation. And thank you. Shout out to John McShane for hooking us up.
Indeed, yes. So, what we're going to do, I think, Neil, we're going to say goodbye to Christine until she comes to Islay, because we're going to move on to the second part of the evening. So, Christine, thank you so much for taking time to sing for us tonight. It was just wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. I thank you so much for inviting me. I look forward to seeing you.
And we'll see you soon in Islay.
Yeah, see you very soon, guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
That was wonderful.
Oh my God, what a voice.
Yeah.
That's one thing I remember years ago, Neill Murphy, a boyfriend I had, and he said to me, "What do you want most in the world, Rachel?" I don't know whether I was meant to say him or what. I said, money and a good singing voice. And he just sat there. and he wasn't very happy. And I said, "What's wrong?" But he couldn't exactly say, "Oh, you're meant to say me."
Yeah.
You're meant to say happiness. And I said, "I am happy. It's just I could do money and a good second voice."
Yeah.
That's one thing I would always have loved.
Yeah. Fantastic.
So I feel that the rest of our conversation is very mundane now.
I know, I know. We should have finished there, because it's not going to get any better than that, is it?
I know. What are we going to say? We're just going to give it on about awards. But I suppose, I don't know. Well, we were going to talk. We haven't really got much time. We could just do a quick.
Yeah, we'll just.
Thing. So, do you want to kind of lead us off a bit on this?
We wanted to talk a wee bit about award shows and ceremonies, and it's kind of obviously time of year dependent, and we've seen a lot about awards. I think the Whisky Magazine's World Whiskies Awards were announced fairly recently. The big bumper edition of the magazine came through recently, and it just got us kind of thinking about them. There's so many different awards now. There seems to be a few.
The public can differentiate between them? Because I was looking, when we were doing the research, I was looking up, right? And for me, they're all the same, because it's all logo, silver, bronze, and gold. And no matter who you buy, it's all the same bloody. I'm like that. It makes no difference to me who they're.
I think that's exactly what we're saying, really. It's we just want people who are maybe newer to whiskey, that are just coming to it for the first time, not to pay too much attention to these things. That unfortunately there's so many of them now that any kind of relevance really has been kind of lost, I think. Now, I don't want to be just negative about them, because I do think there's a good side to these award things as well. There are lots of wonderful people who work in the industry, and they're dedicated, and they devote their lives to whiskey in some cases. And it's nice that those people get a bit of recognition from time to time. I don't have any issue with that whatsoever.
We're happy with that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you think of maybe you know, like Liam's distillery or any distillery, that when they launch a new whiskey or something, you know, they've been planning that for 2-3 years, whatever the case. You think of all the people that have worked on the design of the bottle and the makeup of the whiskey and the creation of the spirit to begin with. And then maybe if they release that bottle and then they get a nice wee pat on the back by somebody giving it a medal and saying, you know, this is really good. I can see why, you know, that must be lovely, you know, to see your work recognised like that. It must sort of make it feel worthwhile and stuff. But it's just from a consumer point of view that unfortunately there's so many of them now. And even it's not even just the amount of different awards, it's each award ceremony seems to have a million different categories. And within each of those categories, there's 5 or 6 different medal winners. And so it starts to feel after a while like, you know, there's no whiskey that hasn't won a medal. You know what I mean? It's pretty much every whiskey has won a medal at some point. You know.
And so the thing that I would like folk to think about, you see, but people don't think about this really, because as people think that the award fairies just skip around and put an award on something. You know. What? Oh, I've just looked out the window. What a beautiful moon! Oh my God! And it's still broad daylight, but there's a beautiful moon.
Magic again, you see.
Yeah, it's more magic. Yes. But the thing is, you pay for these awards. You pay.
Yeah.
So I wondered, are awards factored into distilleries' marketing budgets? This is what I would like to know.
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm not kidding. You know, because you do, and you must decide what ones you're going to go forward. And when you release something new, what time will that be? What award can we put that into? I'd like folk to think about that rather than, I mean, I'm not, as you said, we're not putting down on anything. I would just like folk to maybe think about that a wee bit, you know.
Yeah. It's, as I say, as an in-house or, you know, an in-industry thing, I can see its relevance. I can see why it's a good thing for the people in the industry. I just don't think from a consumer point of view, I don't know that really there's a lot of value in it. Obviously, people in the distilleries and things must feel there is, because if they do, you know, they do count this as part of their market, and you know, they want to be entered, they want to get the medal, they want to be able to say this is a gold medal winning whiskey. So they know more information than we do. They must know that it's going to be worth it. You know, they can maybe sell X number more bottles because of that recognition it's got with the gold medal, you know. But as I say, it becomes now that everyone's got a gold medal for something. Maybe not this year, but last year or the year before. You know, every whiskey's won a gold medal at some point, you know. So
I laughed at that. There was the blog, A Wardrobe of Whiskey. I don't know who writes it, but when I was doing a bit of research, you know, to see, because there's millions of award ceremonies, and he had a list, or she, I don't know who it is, they had a list, you know, and they just said, don't take any of it serious, you know, just like he's basically saying, like, you know, what you're saying. I've just enjoyed his wee article.
Yeah. And I think that's it. You know, there's no harm in it really. It's just take it with a pinch of salt. You know, like you do with any opinion. And I mean, I write whiskey reviews myself, but it's just an opinion, and my opinion's no better than yours or anyone else's. And these awards, although of course they're judged by people who know their stuff. But even then, you know, that sometimes the way, I mean, I was on a judging panel once, and what's interesting is sometimes, you know, the whiskey that won on that occasion, none of the people in the room picked it as their favourite dram.
So how could it win?
Because, like, say I pick whiskey number A as my favourite, but you pick that as your least favourite. Right, but we've both the drams are all numbered, you know. So maybe if I pick whiskey A as my favourite, but you say that's your 10th favourite, so that it's going to get an average place of 5, then, you know. Whereas
that's very interesting. That's a good point.
If both me and you pick whiskey C as our third favourite, and everybody in the room picks it as their third favourite, then it ends up winning. But then, you know, so the drama at the end that won, everybody's going, was that your favourite? No, wasn't my favourite. No, wasn't my favourite. You know, and you're like, how did it win if it's nobody's favourite, you know?
and also then you get, well, whose name shall not be mentioned because we're not getting involved in the big BP Hatman scandal. But but I mean, there's also a shock value, isn't there, to buy people, you know, pick because it's shock value, or I think
sometimes, and it's, you get the impression sometimes it's even about, well, not necessarily a bad thing, but shining a light on something new, you know, like, so, like, for example, Milk and Honey, I think, were named Best Single Malt at this year's World Whiskies Awards, and it feels like, you know, maybe, okay, it's time to recognise this new section of the industry. I'm not saying they're not worthwhile winners. What's little I've tasted has been excellent. But it, you know, sometimes it feels like the awards get shared round just enough to shine a light on each new section, you know.
Well, I mean, if everybody gets a light shone on them, but the thing is that everybody has to remember that people pay for that.
Yeah.
So if you don't pay to enter, no light's going to be shone on you. So what you're doing is you're putting 50 pence in the meter and saying, "Shine the light on me."
Yeah. I think a lot of people maybe think, you know, when you, or certainly when I was new to it, I just assumed it was, you know, a tasting panel sits down and picks out the best whiskies, you know, and that's not what happens. It's people enter the competition. If you don't pay to enter, you're not in the running, you know. So so when people say this is the best whiskey in the world this year, this is the best whiskey that paid to enter this competition this year.
Yes,
you know? It's a very different thing.
Maybe we've shone a light behind the scenes a wee bit tonight.
Well, maybe, yeah. I mean, you know, going back to the sort of judging panel thing as well, you know, like even you know, when I started writing reviews, I used to put a score on the whiskies, obviously. Lots of people do. But as the years kind of went by doing it, I sort of feel putting a number against a whiskey like that is such a strange concept, you know, like, okay, this one's a 91, this one's an 89. See, on another day, you might have scored them the other way around. You know, whiskey's such a fluid, sort of changing experience.
No pun intended.
Yeah, well, yeah. But, you know, like, you can enjoy a dram today and then taste it again tomorrow and have a completely different experience. So putting a fixed number against it, I didn't like that idea, you know.
Well, I've never done that, Neil.
Yeah, and I think
I never put a value judgment apart from my own subjective. I go, this is a brilliant dram. I wish I'd bought a case, but I never, or something. I don't ever really always make it. Yes, I don't do that thing.
Yeah.
I've never done that. Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's like looking at, you know, if somebody was to look at a painting or something and go, yes, that scores 91 points, you know, it's like, you're just plucking numbers out the air, you know, and although, yes, the people on these judging panels know their stuff, and if anyone's able to do it, it would be them, but they're still at the end of the day just picking out a score and putting it against a whiskey, and then they amalgamate all that at the end and then see which one comes out at the highest number, you know. So it all just feels a bit sort of pointless, really, you know. It's just you know, and I don't know that they're as relevant as they maybe once were. I think if there's 2 or 3 award ceremonies, maybe that matters. If there's hundreds of award ceremonies, then the effect becomes totally diluted, you know.
I quite like, though, there's an award ceremony that, I mean, maybe it's been done before, I don't know, but it was held in Oranmore in Glasgow, and I like that because I feel any award ceremony about the Scotch whisky industry should be in Scotland. You wouldn't, I don't think you would have French wine ceremonies in Germany, would you? So why would not? I mean, I don't mind if they're doing world whiskies in another country, but that's a thing that, and also launching whiskies in London or some other place. I'm like that. What? Launch it in Scotland? Do you know what I mean? Launch it in Dundee. Launch it in Upper. Do you know what I mean? Odd.
It seems strange, I mean, and we know obviously that you know, it makes sense from a business point of view. If you're Diageo, for example, I use them because they're a huge company and they're headquartered in London, I believe, office-wise anyway. And you know, if you're in London and 90% of the press and journalists are in London, well, then you do the press launch in London, you know. But it just sometimes feels like it is Scotch whisky after all, you know. It should be at home in Scotland as often as possible,
and
you know.
People fly the press all over the place to go to certain things anyway.
Yeah,
And people,
yeah.
so, you know, instead, so it should just be a mind concept that they change it. And instead of it being held in another country, it's held where it's made. I think that would give a lot more. I think that it would start making a feeling of strong status and rootedness and pride.
Yeah,
Because you have to start somewhere.
Yeah, and you worry we're almost in danger sometimes. We've kind of transferred away from awards and stuff here, but you kind of worry we're in a wee bit of danger sometimes of separating the distillery and the product sometimes, you know. Like, I remember,
Exactly.
and I'm not meaning to pick on Diageo here, but when we were at Lagavulin last year,
like the big boy in the pub, he always gets challenged.
They're an easy target because they're so big, you know, but I'm not meaning to single them out. It's just an experience I had. You know, when I was there last year, popped into Lagavulin, and I was asking the girls at the counter, you know, do you know when this year's Distillers Edition comes out? And she went away and checked and come back and said, oh, it's actually out now, but we don't have it here. It'll be the start of next year before we. And you're like, what do you mean you don't have it here? You know, the first place a new release should be is in the distillery shop.
Home. You know, well, where it's made. Never mind
absolutely.
Brand home.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, so you don't.
Word. Yeah. And the other thing that really pees me off is that brand ambassadors get loads of money. Well, I don't know, but commensurate with what the brand ambassadors that. Because the people that work in the distillery where it's made are they call them brand ambassadors. I don't like that phrase, but they should be paid the same salaries, I feel, as other ones. Because that's separating it from where it's made as well in relation to people. So you should be given status to the home, the creative place. Do you know what I mean? Rather than. Well, we've managed to digress well from awards ceremonies.
I know. I was just going to add on that point, you know, because sometimes they are the unsung heroes. I think is the tour guides at the distilleries, you know, and when you think of, for quite a lot of people, the first contact they have with a brand will be a tour guide at the distillery, you know. So, in lots of ways, they are the ones with the responsibility of giving a good impression of the brand, you know. So a good tour guide can make or break the success of a whiskey connecting with its audience, you know. So
absolutely.
So here's to the tour guides. They don't often get the recognition they deserve, you know. So
award ceremony for tour guides.
There we go.
Guides.
Never mind all these whiskies with medals. Let's just
make a new category.
Yeah, but I mean that's true. You know, we don't really. I mean, there's a bit of that, you know. But who's the still operator of the year? Who's the maturation guru of the year? You know, focus a bit more on that. Maybe I would say, you know, not the glamorous side, but the people that are actually there working hard to make this all happen. You know.
Yes. Yeah, bringing it home, bringing the whiskey home, bringing the awards home.
Yeah.
Oh well, that was a good rant we had after the lovely singing.
You've got to get a rant in there somewhere, yeah.
But I wanted folk to think about that. You know, always think behind why this, and you know, certain just. All in context, you see.
Yeah, exactly. It's critical thinking, isn't it? You know, just apply a bit of critical thinking. Don't just accept everything you read. I mean, for example, a great example of awards when things get out of hand a wee bit. It's happened I haven't seen it in a couple of years, right enough, but when Lidl or Aldi release one of their really affordable sort of blended malts or a blended Scotch or single malt, and they've won an award, the press go nuts with it, you know. And I'm sure it'll be Lidl or Aldi themselves. They win an award and they send a press release out to every single news agency in the country, you know. And then those news agencies broadcast that with really dramatic headlines, you know. It's like Lidl whiskey is the best whiskey in the world officially because of this award ceremony. And then actually when you dig into the article, it turns out that, you know, their whiskey won in the blended whiskey under 12 years old category or something like that, you know. And it's like there's so many categories, you know. There's single malt, over 20 years, 15 to 20 years, 10 to 15 years, under 10 years, no age statement. Then there's an award for single cask. Then there's an award for a small batch, you know. And
do Malt Maniacs still do an award? Did they not categorize it like mid-range, you know, low range and high range?
That's right.
I think that's maybe a good thing, because do you know what I mean? How can you put a whiskey maybe at, say, I don't know, 28.99 against maybe? Yeah. But then that's another whole area, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Don't get me started in price, for God's sake. We'll be here.
Let's do that. Yeah. Do you know what, Neil Murphy? I think we've went over the hour. Have we ever done that before?
Yeah. We did go over the hour. When did we go over the hour? When we had David on doing the quiz thing, the whiskey.
Oh, that's right. We could blame him. So we have to blame the witches for this today. Well, thank you to everybody for joining us. We had one of the loveliest nights. Well, I did, with Christine singing. Did you?
Yes.
Mr. Murph?
Yep. That was special. Yeah, I'd love to have maybe some more music at some point. I think that's a really good thing to include. Yes. Yep.
You've started something here now, Christine.
Yeah. Yep.
So we look forward to seeing everybody that we can at the open day.
Yep. I've just put the website up on the screen there, and now I'll put our email as well. Obviously, all the details of the Feis events are on the website, and if you've got any questions, you can email us. And
or the diploma, if anyone wants to join our diploma, week-long course for learning on Islay, or if you want to purchase our online course, you can purchase it directly off the website as well.
Absolutely.
So, thank you, Daniel. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Oh, I've just kicked my chair. Sorry.
Okay. As long as you're not kicking a bucket, you'll be fine.
Not quite yet. I was at a whiskey tasting last night, so that's why I'm a wee bit gruff tonight. So
you shouldn't have no one would have noticed.
That's why I'm on the tea tonight. That's why there's no drams tonight. It's purely tea for me.
Well, it was lovely to see you. Thanks, John. We'll see you soon.
Okay, right.
Bye, everybody.
Cheers all.
Bye.